Kadzo, Kenya, Africa, bursting a new tone rhyme on Poxy pressure. Again, bursting a new tone rhyme on Poxy pressure. When we were young, there were cameras that would take photos on a film, and it took a while for the photos to be processed. Sometimes your photo will be taken today and it will come back to you after a week or even after 2 weeks. That's when you will see. Sometimes you are told there was too much light, the whole thing got destroyed. So you have to start it all over again. And you know, time has passed. You can't pose the same way. I remember handling a Russian-made camera called Lubitel. They used to have Lubitel 2, something like a box that you put here and take photographs. In fact, when I started teaching in a satellite town in Nakuru called Subukia, that is in Kenya, I had the Lubitel camera. I'm speaking from Kenya, so when I talk of Subukia, talk of Nakuru, I'm talking of towns in Kenya. It was a time when people would rehearse on how to take photos. Pause, smile, say cheese. That was the time. It was capturing memory. People would look for where there are beautiful flowers. They would practice poses. They would look for buildings, and sometimes there would be camera tricks where you put a camera in a certain level and even the highest building appears to be your same height. In fact, you put a hand and when the photo comes out, it appears like you are holding the top of that building. And then there are photograph studios. People would go to the studios. That's where you pause, you sit, there are certain lighting systems so that your photograph does not fade. And during that time, photography was something like a ritual. Interesting. So when you entered somebody's house, because during those days you could not enter somebody's house and not be offered tea to take, or water or juice. So when you entered somebody's house, they presented you with an album or albums as you took your tea, or as you took your juice, or as you took your porridge, because other places there was porridge always ready, or sour milk. That was what was there. You would be seeing the photos in these albums. That was the way we captured time. That is how we captured memory. I know for the .com, the young people, some have never even seen an album. They are wondering when somebody is talking of an album, what are you talking about? And an album was a special book that was made with polythene covers covering the pages so that you would insert the photographs you had taken, and those photographs will not be interfered with by dust and things like that. So that was the time when photographs were being taken on a certain film, plastic film, that had to be developed in a dark room. If there was too much exposure, it got spoiled. And imagine during that time, even people, those who have read spy books, even people in the spy industries had small cameras that would be used for spying. Now, if people wanted to take something, you would have a camera that would be moved quietly by the clockworks. So say after 5 minutes it flashes, but it would flash on a given position. So they would put that. You couldn't have CCTV cameras. So they would have one that would photograph. So you know after 10 minutes this was there. After 10 minutes this was there, facing one place. That was the technological advancement of that time. During that time also people were playing gramophones, a type of machine that would move a plastic disc called a record so that you listen to music, and a record that contained lots of hits of music was called an album. So I want to differentiate the album that was played on the gramophone and the album, the book. Today I'm talking about an album, and I would like to introduce a musician from what do I call it? From my ancestral background, a town called Kakamega. He sang a song called Epicha Yanje, that in my vernacular means my photograph. He sang it when the albums were famous, the photographs were famous. It was during that era. And this song talks about photographs and what was happening. He was praising himself with his photograph. His photograph was in demand, because if you had that, then you would develop a photograph, and then you could send people film, or you could take to the studio film. It was not easy to get things like we get on YouTube and other places. So the films would be developed into many photos that you would send to people who are interested. Epicha Yanje. This song was played by two musicians from this side of the world. The composer, I think the originator was called Newton, is called Newton, and the core musician was called Poxy Pressure. If you want to download, I would recommend you download and listen to it, even if it's a language that you will not be able to understand. Listen to it. I would just highlight a bit on what it talks about. On YouTube, download Kenyan music, Epicha Yanje, Epicha Yanje by Newton and Poxy Pressure. Newton and Poxy Pressure. Newton is the English Newton name, and Poxy is P-O-X-Y, and then Pressure, the normal pressure. You will get that song. Listen to it. Get excited. It's very entertaining to those who understand the language. I'm going to just do a bit of breaking down of that. For those who won't understand the language, let me do a layman lyric interpretation. I'm not following it with the rhythm. It's for you to get the rhythm, but when you hear certain words, you'll know what they mean. It says, Newton kijana moja handsome number one. Meaning, Newton is a very handsome guy. And then, wasichana wanatakako epicha yanje kwa album. The girls want his photograph. He's handsome, number one, in Kakamega. And everybody in Kakamega, because he's handsome, are saying, Kakamega, welcome. Kakamega is, I think, the biggest town in Western Province, apart from Kisumu, which is a city in Nyanza, the western part. But Kakamega, I think, is the second largest. So, Kakamega, welcome. Because he's handsome. And he continues, wasichana wanatakako epicha yanje kwa album. The girls want to have his photograph so that they put it in his album. The album is famous. Kwenye album yangu kuna picha ya Pastor Rymes. In his album, he also has pictures of other people, famous people. He has an American rap star that time called Pastor Rymes. And he has got Rikobe, a great Kenyan comedian, TV comedian called Rikobe in his album, and the co-rapper, his friend. Poxy Pressure, he also has a photograph of Poxy Pressure. Very handsome guys. Then he continues, when they see it, ndio roho yao inadundako kama drum. when they see it, their heart beat like the drum because he is handsome. Anasemako Amangondo is the game. He says money is the game. He is saying anafanyako mapenzi better, that he is a lover to be desired, he is handsome. That will give you a rough idea of what the singing is about. Please download before you begin your lesson, because it's an interesting lesson. I hereby open the first page in the album and see a photo. Oh, the photo of this handsome guy called Newton. And who is Newton in this photo? Kenya just became a new country from being a British provincial colony of Kenya. There is a call by the British government to put a prime minister, but one turned down the offer and says another is our true leader and only second to God. That's how we Africans see him. And then, as the saying goes, I taught you about the Viking religion. Ask and enable. So he asked for the new leader, and to him he was like a second God, and God enabled it as an enabler. You can read these epics in the annals of the Kenyan history. Go in the Kenyan history, follow it up yourself. The Luhya, the Luo, and the Western Alliance, including the Kalenjins, formed a group when this other leader got that, because they felt the other side had also formed a group. The Kikuyu, Akamba, Embu, and Meru. So they also formed a group that was to counter this group. And all these leaders were moving around talking of national unity. You see that design of national unity? A Western Alliance, a Central Alliance. Places like the coast, because some thought they were asleep, they were non-entities. So these two groups became competitive groups. And that went on with our unity. See that kind of unity we had? And we had stories now of who are the owners of presidency, who are the guardians of presidency. We started developing that narrative. You can read these interesting epics in the Kenyan history books. That is page 1. The picture of Newton, the photo of Newton. I turn to page 2 of the story and I see a picture of the great American musician. I see Pastor Rymes, the American rapper. Or that is their genge music, the gangster music, rap. He enters the stage as a passing cloud. That is Pastor Rymes. He tries to burst the bubble of false unity by creating a one-party state, a unified Kenya. He came bursting, trying to burst that false bubble, to have a one party, to have a united Kenya. The contesting rappers, Rap Western and Rap Central, make his stage very rough. He decides to be the baddest rapper on the stage alone, because these rappers now are causing a lot of nonsense. And he tries to put some sense into the Kenyan stage, that eventually we have to behave like one, but the sabotage is just too much. He decides enough is enough. I become a home-ground rapper, and he raps on the home ground, because now he has realized, he has even lost the footsteps he was following. And all he can now think of is who will be the inheritor, And how will the rooster survive? The rooster is the party we call Kanu, by the way. But he feels even if the rooster is slaughtered, the members of the rooster will survive for 100 years. And he was not false. Most of those who have been in the rooster party. After a lot of demonstrations and skirmishes, he sees the two opposing factions and says, "You too abound. I cannot carry it anymore. These skirmishes, everything abound." And he writes it in code language, 2A. We've heard of 2A or multi-party politics. The times go by and he decides that he says one time Kenyans will remember him. They will say he must come. He puts forward his choice of successor. And Kenyans decided to go on the other side because he put now two people. There was somebody also who rose up from the other side and he put one from that side. And now the Kenyans decided to do him a humiliating defeat. They defeat his candidate, and the worst thing we did, that one we should have to apologize before God. He hands over power peacefully, and we humiliate him when he's getting out of state. God forgive Kenyans for that. And then I leave that page. He has handed over. I turn to the next page of the album. And who do I see in this album? On this page, there is the photo of Rico Ben, the comedian. Yes, that is page 3. The 2A or 2 abound factions trade barbs. You don't need a boat when you have crossed the river. Though there is an oath, there was an oath by the leadership to cross rivers from certain places. Still the leadership crosses the river. We have hair-raising drama and Hague is the game. And 2 white comedians run the stage for some time. We do inheritance voting and you can still continue with the drama on the Kenyan political history. On the other page of the album, I see Poxy pressure, getting the English meaning of the word Poxy, and that is the pressure he has. Check in your dictionary, check on the internet, see what Poxy means. I see the Madimoni being the best unitary president, he feels so, and suddenly, whoa! He realizes that was not inheritance politics. He cheated himself. The rest of the history, you can read it in the annals of the Kenyan political history. The other Poxy enters under pressure with the other Western alliances in tow, and now there is talk of succession politics. Wow. The Poxy is on stage, and now, according to our tradition, the ball has to be passed to the other side. We are under pressure for 1 term and under pressure for 2 terms in Kenya. You've heard those stories. But now the one there feels time to do the trading over. It's there. You've heard those quarrels there. They are all on TV. You can be able to follow them. Those ones are not in the annals of the Kenyan history. So, come to think of it, must we have men ruling Kenya? Uganda had a vice president who performed very well until she resigned herself, called Speciola. She was a woman in all aspects, a very good leader. Our neighboring place, we have Her Excellency, Mother of the Tanzanian nation. A woman in all aspects, but a very good leader. So, Kenyan, do families in Kenya only give birth to boys? Why don't we see women also rising up? What is happening in Kenya? Are Kenyan women capable of ruling this country too? We've never seen you in the contest. Break this tradition. Where they are, be there. Win. Let us also see. Sometimes women make better changes than men. In most places, you realize that. So, Kenyan women, come out. 2, must there be a protocol of political handing over when we are voting every 5 years? In fact, if we needed protocols, we would just say, get in. If it's 2-3 terms, get them. That's all. We do it that time. But voting every term means that you can go for 2 terms or you can go for 1 term. Don't sing that 1-term song. Don't sing those 2-term songs. No. Because that was the tradition. People are breaking away from the tradition. Those who want to market themselves, feel free. This is Kenya. The constitution gives you the right. Market yourself. Start from the smallest seat, that is the MCA, to the topmost seat. If parties try to give you a blockage, because that is what happens politically, the law of the independent parties works in Kenya. You can have 300 MCAs running for one position. Let the voter circumcise you in the voting place. We can have 300 presidential candidates running. Let the circumciser circumcise you in the voting place. Do not be deterred, no. You feel you are capable, present yourselves. And like Poxy Pressure says, wawekeko picha yake kwenye album, wakionako picha yake, roho zao zinatunda-tundako kama Trump. This is saying that have your posters also, women posters, men posters, from presidential to the lowest. Present yourselves. Let those who think they're entitled or not entitled also have their hearts beating. There is a contest. There should be a contest. That's why we shall vote. Otherwise, if there was no contest, there would be no need of voting. It will be automatic. You have gotten, get. You've gotten, get. After 2, let's have something like the Americans do. If they feel you're not good, Trump is coming after having slept home for a term. Because they felt that time he was not, and they did something. So, this time they felt it's better. So they have put him there. So should it be in any other place. Bring people to contest. If people feel the one there is the best, let them give him another term. If they feel you fit the shoes, why don't they give you a term too? It is a contest. You will be circumcised by the voters. Come to the river. We go to the river naked for circumcision. Yes, let the voters circumcise you. Let's break away from those traditions. They call them protocols, yeah. Contest. And if parties bring what they are used to traditionally, we shall lock this one out. We shall align like this. Break loose. Break loose. Go independent. Let the voter decide. That's my take for now. A picha yanje says, Kenya ni voter mundu moja handsome #1. Wacha roho ya watu wote tudadudeko kama Trump. Be there, vote. And present yourselves, both men and women. We don't want to see this scenario where it's only men parading their wives and whatever. We might even teachers and whatever. Why don't also women come with their spouses also? I'm the presidential candidate. This is my husband. He will be the first man in the house. Why must we always have first ladies? That is my take for now. A picha yanje kwenye album. That is where I end. Check that picture of the political scenario coming beautiful. A picha yanje.